Hey, what's up, everybody? We're going to bring you a special here. This is going to be the draft huddle with Foots and myself here. So we're going to talk about draft prospects for the rest of the offseason here. This will be on Foots' channel. And we just really appreciate all you guys checking out all of our content. And we're
really do.
Yeah, man, we're going to kick it off here. What position group we're going to kick it off with, Foots?
Hey, man, like Joe said, we're going to do this draft coverage for you guys. Joe is, not to kind of step on your toes, Joe, but Joe is just like, me and Joe's relationship has grown like crazy. And we're just like, man, to get over this funk of another mediocre season that we've all kind of covered and beaten into the ground, what better way to do that? Excuse me, guys, I'm getting my camera in order. But what better way to do that than, kind of educate ourselves on some of these prospects? So we're going to do that, like Joe said. But, Joe, we were talking, and we may hit quarterbacks if we run out of weeks. But to get through this funk, we want to start defensively, and we just said, let's start on the back end. It makes sense. It's a need for the Cowboys. And really, when you think of this draft, the Cowboys seriously could draft round one. I counted like 7 positions, Joe, that they could take.
Yeah.
I counted receiver. I counted receiver. I counted linebacker. I counted tight end. I counted D-line. I counted D-end. I counted maybe if a corner slips through the cracks, and I counted obviously safety. That's 7 positions, and not even offensive line as well with Tyron. So, but anyway, we're gonna start with the safeties, Joe.
All right, sounds good, man. And safety, obviously, I think it's a need, man, because we're kind of missing the playmaker there, right? Would you say that, or what do you think?
I think so. I think that. And I know how you, and I'm sure everybody on your channel knows how you feel about Byron. And
yeah,
we were just talking about it, off the record. Number one, I think Byron's out of position. Number two, I think he's a safe player, but he doesn't take chances, and I don't think his instincts are just there. Like, for a safety, a playmaking safety.
Right.
I know, Joe, you're a big fan of Landon Collins and how we missed on him.
Yeah, man, Landon Collins.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just a guy who gets the position. And, with the Alabama players, it's always the question, how are they going to look in the league? They were surrounded by so much talent. But, yeah, man. So.
Yeah, and that's a good point. So, one of your guys, I think, is Ronnie Harrison, right?
Yeah, he's so I highlighted him on the page. He's at 19, he's like, he could be there. Depending on how this draft falls. Obviously, the 2 quarterbacks announced today that they're coming out. I know you think that Barkley's Matt Leinart. Actually draw some comparisons.
That's what I'm saying, man. No shade on any USC guys out there, because I know everybody has their own college they like, but it's just year in and year out they're chugging out these guys, and they're okay. They're not going to get you the Super Bowl.
We gotta call it what it is, Joe. They suck. Like, Sanchez stinks. He stunk in the league. I mean, he did beat the Patriots in the playoffs, but he stinks.
Yeah.
He's known for obviously the butt fumble. Leinart. I mean, the best USC quarterback is Carson Palmer, and that says a lot. Like, somebody tried to sell me the other day that he was a Pro Bowler. I just stopped. I mean, not a Pro Bowl, Hall of Famer, and I just stopped the conversation.
Yeah, it's just somebody that just not good. But let's get back. Let's get back to the task here, talking about these safeties, because like we talked about offline, and we could talk about it here. I just don't see the Cowboys giving Byron the 5th-year option this offseason. So let's get somebody in here now, and I feel like, and people are talking about Earl Thomas and this and that, and bringing some of these other Cam Champ, but these guys are beat up. They're kind of on the back end already. So why get old? Let's get young and quick, right? We need more speed out there, man.
We need more speed and follow the trend. Follow your instincts as a fan. The Cowboys lately have not even been touching big name free agents, and Earl Thomas would obviously be
Yeah.
a big name,
Yeah.
and they haven't even it's been speculation amongst fans and media members, but as far as the organization, I don't think that they've even given, number one, their cap's all jacked up. But number two, I don't think that Steven wants to go that route anymore. Steven
Yeah.
and Jerry and Will Clay.
Yeah.
So you better win through the draft. And yeah, so I can give you my top five. You want to do that now, Joe?
Let's do it. Let's give these guys your top 5.
Okay, so me and Joe thinking of this show. So these are guys that I have watched. I haven't got to Deshaun Elliott yet. I've seen his highlights. I haven't got to his full game tape, so I don't want to be, kind of a front runner and just saying, oh yeah, just ranking these guys. No, I take this serious and I want to really give my opinion, and it's all opinion. But so
Yeah.
number one, I so in the summer I made a switch. So in the summer I had Derwin James over Minka Fitzpatrick, but I don't think that Minka Fitzpatrick is a product of Alabama. I think Minka Fitzpatrick is just a special player. So he's safety one, a guy that can cover, a guy that will tackle, a guy that will blow you up. He could probably play corner if you wanted him to. He's just an athlete, man. Sideline to sideline, instincts great. Now last year in the championship game against Clemson, Deshaun Watson kind of picked on Minka a little bit with that little receiver that they have over there, Clemson. But man, Minka's he's the one. So then two, Derwin James, just a playmaker as well. It's really like 1 and 1A because I like Derwin James' attitude, the attitude that he plays with. He's just a very solid player. He can play some corner, he can play some nickel, but you really want him on the back and kind of using him like an Earl Thomas type. So that's my safety 2 out of Florida State. Safety 3 for me is Ronnie Harrison, but he's probably my favorite safety just because he has that workman-like mentality. I call him a mix between Landon Collins and Cam Chancellor. Kind of that guy who, while coverage isn't his strong suit, he can cover. He's kind of like a gritty, know how to figure it out type coverage safety. But his strength is coming down and laying the boom. You know what I mean, Joe? And if you pair him with a Xavier Woods or Jeff Heath playing the back end, or we kind of play our safeties interchangeable in that Tampa 2 theme if we're going to stick with that, depending on who is the defensive coordinator. Ronnie Harrison is he's just an attitude guy. He's somebody who will come and just change the attitude of any team he's on. He has a lot of that, I like to say, Jamal Adams in him. He's just a football freaking player. Jordan Whitehead from Pittsburgh, another great safety. He's my safety 4. And then to wrap up, my 5 is Marcus Allen from Penn State, a name that a lot of people aren't. Some people are familiar with. He actually went to high school in this area, in D.C., in the Maryland area, went to a school called Wise. But Marcus Allen, he's a really good player. Sideline to sideline, good tackler. Will intercept the ball. Coverage is decent, gets fooled a little bit, but so just to recap, it's Minka Fitzpatrick 1, Derwin James 2, Ronnie Harrison 3, Jordan Whitehead from Pittsburgh 4, and Marcus Allen from Penn State 5. And then some names that I'm gonna hit: Deshaun Elliott, Texas, and Justin Reed, Eric Reed's little brother from Stanford. He's a sleeper. That I have a good feeling that he may sneak into my top 5. Once I hit him, but that right now, early on in the process, that's my 5.
Yeah, that's a good point. So early on in this process, because our goal is getting these names out here, and
Yep.
So other guys can be informed of names that are going to start coming out. So, what do you think the draft range of some of these guys are? Like after Harrison and Whitehead, where do you think these guys may fall right now?
Harrison, early 2. may sneak in the one. Depending, I'm hearing he's gonna run a good 40. So if he can run anywhere from 4.5 to 4.6, his tape's great. And now he played at not a name of, not a school of a Penn State or Alabama or Florida State. He's at Pittsburgh, but he can play.
Yeah.
I think that the one who could rise is Justin Reed. Doesn't do anything great, does everything very well. Doesn't have a ton of picks, but he tackles well, Joe. He covers very well, so he could rise, sneak into the early 2, late 1. Ronnie Harrison is a mid 1, and then obviously the 2 studs, Minka and Derwin. I don't see them getting out of the top 15. They would have to do something crazy.
Yeah. And you never know, man. Sometimes these things come up, little red flags here and there, and then that's where, the Cowboys got to, take everything into consideration, They don't want to get burnt, but at the same time, if a good player is there, you got to think about taking them, right?
I agree. No, 100%, Joe. And I think, for years we've been saying safety, safety, safety. I remember, Mark Barron was a guy years ago that
I remember that.
And then what's the safety from he plays for the Saints now, Texas safety.
Vaccaro.
Vaccaro, yep. Kenny Vaccaro. And he was, mocked to the Cowboys a lot. So I think that the Cowboys value the position. It would just have to be the right guy. This is what me and Joe would do. But, when you're in that scouting room with Jerry and you're trying to sell him, Jerry sees the receiver and he sees the safety. You know where he's going, Joe.
Yeah.
If he sees now, it was amazing that he did pick an old lineman, but there's no, at this point, we were talking about it earlier, there's no way that a Quentin Nelson's going to fall. He's already a super hot name. You really got to him very early, Joe. But if Nelson was there or an old lineman you like, is it the old lineman, is it the safety? Do we think we can get by with what we have for another year? Me personally, I'm of the mindset, you have a Jordan Lewis who came on well. You have a Cheeto who plays with attitude. You have an Xavier Woods who's your nickel guy now. And you want him to eventually take a bigger step and be versatile and play every safety position. And so you have these pieces who could, this final piece, a good safety like this, could take your secondary from good to now top 1, 2, 3, a no-fly zone type of a secondary.
Exactly. Yeah, man, and that's what I want to hear, man, because I think we're well on our way to being that kind of defensive secondary.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm more inclined to trying to get a safety this draft than previous ones because I think we're so close to solidifying the secondary, man, with solid players. So these are good names, man. These are good names to get out there. What do you think? What do you think the chances are that the Cowboys pull the trigger on a safety? Because it seems like they've been allergic to safety in like a true safety, right? We're not talking Byron Jones, convert him and that kind of thing, but they seem allergic to safeties in the first round and defensive tackles. It's just like, is it a value thing? What do you think it is, man? What do you think it really is with the Cowboys, like with safeties?
Well, okay, so that's a great question, Joe, because if I had my way last year, I wanted the Cowboys to draft Budda Baker, and you see him this year playing with Arizona, and he's making plays.
He was good. I like that guy.
You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah.
And I text you like, man, that was my safety one, and I know, Malik Hooker and everybody else, but I value football players. That's what I value. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah.
So I know I've read things that the Cowboys have a certain weight requirement, a certain height requirement. That's why they love Byron Jones so much. He tested so well. But again, Joe, I'm of your mindset. Good coaches and good organizations understand. Stop trying to change these guys. Ronnie Harrison is a stud at the position. He's ready made.
Yeah.
He came from basically a pro system at Alabama, and you follow the the coaching lines, and Jason and Saban have a really good connection. It makes perfect sense for me and Joe. But the Cowboys, I the I would say, to put a percentage on it, I would say 40% maybe chance that they would do it, because come draft time they're gonna fall in love with the receiver, or they're gonna fall in love with I would love a D tackle. This is a good D tackle class, and you'll
Yeah.
have some guys,
It is.
if you want to get a real one in there, a real one tech. You'll have some guys available, but remember the whole Sharif Floyd thing. So I would say 40%, Joe, and I'm with you because playing the change game and the move game, you try to do it with Cheeto, and he's a corner. Keep him at corner. Maybe later in his career, when he's been in the league for however long and he understands everybody's position, maybe play around with it then. But I think that teams do themselves a disservice by bringing these kids into the league and trying to teach them 20 different positions.
Yeah,
so
I agree. Totally agree, man. Hopefully that's a
yeah.
lesson learned for them, because, I mean, they got to know, man. They got to know that it's not working out, you know?
No, you're right, Joe. I mean, that's a fact.
It's got the name of the game is upgrade where you can upgrade and get better, right? That's why they let go of Carr, they let go of Claiborne. These were guys that were, that just weren't getting it done in our system. And I just think that that's another thing that we have to consider as fans is like, you hear about a guy, but will he fit in our system the way that the Cowboys play, Tampa 2, and that kind of stuff?
No, I agree. I completely agree, Joe. Yeah, because some guys just aren't a scheme fit. They're just not. You're not gonna draft a guy with. That's why, again, Cowboys fans hated it, but the whole T.J. Watt debacle, and why did we draft Taco, who actually gave us good minutes later on in the season, Joe.
Yeah, I saw the numbers. The snaps of Watt versus the snaps of Taco. If he would have had the same snaps, he might have had more sacks. So I mean, it's about patience, man. And the Cowboys, fans in general, especially us, we want results right now. And
Yeah,
sometimes it takes time.
yeah,
But drafting at 19, I think is going to be interesting, because you got to think how many of these prospects are they going to have a first round grade? You know what I mean, like a legit first round grade.
yeah. No, and that's a you spot on tonight, Joe. I don't. So the way it works, certain scouts give out a certain amount of first round grades.
Right.
19 is actually a sweet spot of this draft, because on average a draft, from all the reading, and this is like my 5th, 6th year really diving into the draft, so I was very young, like just being a nerd when it comes to the draft. But when you're putting your board together, you only may have 25 first round grades, 20 through 23 first round grades.
Right. Yeah.
And that means if you're not window, like I know a term that Brian Broaddus likes to use, window dressing, or if you're not kind of point picking, or if you're just going best available, obviously you're going to put 1 grades on the quarterbacks, but you're not going to draft a quarterback.
No.
So now that cuts you down to like what, Joe? 19. You know what I'm saying? 19 first round grades.
19.
Because
Yeah.
you figure quarterbacks get overdrafted, so Baker, Rosen, and Darnold are gonna go. I'm hearing Lamar Jackson could sneak in the first round. So now, if you do the math, now that's 18 first round grades, maybe. And then when you start getting to the back of the draft, 22. That's why you see so many teams start trying to scoot up, because
that's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right, man. We are in the sweet spot. A lot of movement happens right there at the 19 position and early 20s. So You
Yeah.
know, it's gonna come up, man. You know, the conversation's gonna be like, okay, are we gonna trade back and get some more
Yeah.
picks? Because it does. It comes down to the value. I think with the Cowboys, they're big on the value. Is this guy really a first round guy? Can we move back and pick up some guy, or do they stay put? No, they stay put. Like what, the last 2 or 3. Uh, they've stayed put here a couple times already. So we'll see what they do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
But you're right, man. The more quarterbacks that they get taken, it'll push more talent down to us. And so I guess, like, I don't
100%.
really, yeah, I'm not feeling the quarterbacks in this class, but let's hype these guys up, man. Let's push that talent down to us, man. You know what I mean?
You spot on, Joe. This quarterback class, I'm not impressed at all. I'll be honest with you, Joe. This is early indication, so I don't want to knee jerk. I'm not impressed with the receivers. I'm impressed with the corners. I'm impressed with the safeties. I'm impressed with the linebackers in this class.
Yeah.
I can't wait to talk linebackers, Joe. Seriously.
Yeah. And then it's going to be a need, man.
I'm impressed with the linebackers. The receivers, I watched some guys, and right now it's Calvin Ridley and who else,
Yeah.
A couple other guys, but if you look at the trend, I'll give you 2 examples. Laquan Treadwell completely washed away in Minnesota. There's a couple guys who have similar skill sets to him in this draft. And then Corey Davis this year was decent with the Titans, but every draft is his own draft. So I think what happened is after the Odell Beckham draft, where every receiver was just like freakishly good that rookie year, which was like really just like a legendary type draft, franchises and organizations was just like, we got to go receiver high. We got to go receiver high. And I'm just like, I'm never drafting a receiver super high unless my trenches are fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Dez was supposed to be a top 10 receiver in the draft, and we know why he fell. But other than that, that's me.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I feel on the receivers, and then it's like you said, there's trends. People. To me, I think the trend is going to be not so much the big, tall receiver, but the more Odell, AB type guys that can run routes good and can catch. And that's what Dak needs, man. For me, I think Dak needs that in his game. He's got a guy that's going to be there. The ball's there. The guy's going to catch it.
A hands guy, yeah.
But that's going to be an interesting conversation when we get to receivers. You do have the taller guys, Sutton and some of these other guys. But, you do have these other guys that fit in that AB and Odell type size. So that's
Think about this, Joe.
Yeah.
Think about this, Joe, really quick. Cooper Kupp, 2nd round, and Juju Smith-Schuster, 3rd round. Those are the best receivers out of this class.
There you go.
So that just goes to show you, do the homework. And Pittsburgh obviously develops receivers great, but they also know the type of receiver that they want. And also, this is a deep running back class too. Very deep at running back.
I know, man.
It's
going to be good for us.
You know what, Joe? I hear you, but when we get to him, you never know with Zeke. Now we know. We know firsthand you never know with Zeke. So you need to cover every position.
And that's where the Cowboys got. They got, caught with their pants down. They didn't have good depth at the tackle position. They didn't have good depth at, just depth issues, man. You got to have them or you're going to get bit. And it's nasty, man. Getting bit, man. It hurts because, we took it on the chin, man. They got to get better.
We're watching the playoffs.
Yeah, and we're talking draft early because exactly we're out.
Yeah, right.
But it's good, man. It's good. So what are you thinking for the next position group, Foots? What do you want to cover next one?
Let's work our way down. Either we can do corners or linebackers. Which one, Joe? I'm kind of have a jump on both. So
I like that, man. I like that. I think we should work from the outside in. So yeah, I think corners, linebackers, then D line probably.
Okay, so we'll hit corners next. That's cool.
Sounds like a plan, man.
Good corner class. if you want to get a guy, because, let's talk about that too, Joe. Right now you have 3. Scandrick probably won't be here next year.
Yeah, he's gone.
You want to bring another young kid in,
No.
It'll be interesting to talk. This is good talk, Joe. Seriously.
It is. Really. And what do the Cowboys feel about AB, Anthony
Yeah.
Brown? Is he going to stay in a funk, or what is the deal with him? But so, yeah, man, good points. Good points. DB definitely in play, man. Definitely.
Definitely in play.
But I think that's it, man. We covered the safety here, and we'll definitely have more conversations. We'll probably hit up some mock drafts further down the line. We got the Senior Bowl coming up. We can talk about that game. So good stuff coming down the pike here with the Draft Huddle. With
the Draft Huddle.
That's it, sir. Man. That's it. But we really appreciate all you guys tuning in to this one here. We're going to keep it going here with the draft talk and the off-season talk. So shout out to all you guys out there.
Peace. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Joe Rod. Peace.